microphone को जाएंगे microphone तक नहीं तो भाई काम नहीं तो क्या आपका काम नहीं तो और नहीं तो जाएंगे
I'm requesting Dr. Babuji to preside over the session, to conduct the session. Vijay, please introduce.
Let's go.
Joy Guru. It's wonderful. This is a joyous occasion of our annual get-together, which we call Samlani. And usually we assemble on July 4th weekend for convenience, and we've been doing this for all 21 years now. And we consider this high privilege that members of our community who know about us, or would like to know more about us, who we would like to share our Thakura's blessings and Thakura's teachings, which we share very similar with other organizations, likewise organizations in the community. And so we consider it high privilege that you all have given us of your time, and that you have come to join us in this and share your time and share with us some of your feelings, so that we as a community grow stronger in our spiritual quest. Like I said, it's a joyous organization, a joyous occasion for us, and a little bit of, in that joy, a little bit of disorganized, but please know that even in that, there is a method to it, just because our love and affection for you through our Thakura is indisputable. So welcome. I would like, we have several members of the ISKCON organization here, ISKCON Sangha, we can say, association, spiritual association here. And today our general with this meeting with community leaders is led by none other than Prabhu Drishtadas from ISKCON, and he's accompanied by Rudranima. Welcome. You are constant with us, you don't need any introduction, but when you provide your share your feelings or share what you have to say, please tell more if but what I know is Bhai Drishta Bhai is a direct disciple of Prabhupada, the founder of the ISKCON movement. So welcome Bhai. Welcome Ma. We also have Manoj Tripathi Bhai with us, and he is accompanied by Shakti Ma, Manoj Tripathi, Shakti Tripathi, and their beautiful two children. Ma, you tell your name. Stand up and tell your name. What's your name? Shama. Wonderful Shama. You have the most beautiful smile. Welcome. And where's your brother? What's your name, Babu?
Arveda.
Arveda. Welcome. Welcome to our Sangha. Hopefully you will come back after this is over with your parents one time, and like we go to your ISKCON temple, many of us go there. So, just let this not be the only time that you are here, and come join with us in singing and joyous celebration of life and spiritual quest, and have shared prasad with us. We are also very fortunate to have, and I asked him last night or last afternoon, evening, and he very graciously said he has a lot of business commitments because it's a working day. But Virendra Kaur is here, a community leader in the Hindu temple. But he's also the CEO and head of a large organization, business intelligence professionals, both in North Carolina and United States, and more so in Bhubaneswar. And Dhirobabu is very involved with the Odia literature. He writes and he helps publish, and he also provides funding support to many charitable organizations in Bhubaneswar. He's an enthusiastic cyclist, and he has put his village Golpur. I want to see that someday, because he takes some of the most beautiful pictures and describes, every time he goes, he probably goes back to his village for sure, and blends with his village life, and has and there is a Odia restaurant in Jajpur Road that he has made very popular. So Dhirobabu, thank you so much for taking time and joining us. Thank you. He is involved in the Hindu temple here and Jagannath Puja here, so welcome. I want to, today she's a guest, but she's no guest. The mother of, she's the mother of our two children, Mohit and Lara. So Ratna Jena, I'm so glad that you are able to come and spend some time with us. Welcome. And then, she's the senior financial analyst with the UNC system, and so she provides leadership to the education sector, the university sector, and so I just wanted to share also her professional affiliation. But she's very much, most people in this ashram know Ratna. Then I have Dr. Kailash Mishra and Suprabha Mishra with us. Dr. Kailash Mishra is an eminent professor of mathematics from North Carolina State University, and just a very good, and Suprabha has just retired from NC State also. They're just good human beings. They're just so generous and welcoming, and they're very involved with the North Carolina community here, and have provided a lot of outreach to many young people who have come here to study or just come here to work. And so we are very fortunate that you have joined us today, Kailash Babu, with such short notice that you accepted our invitation and that you are here. Am I missing Vishwajit Bhai? Please introduce yourself if I'm missing, because we really want to recognize and celebrate your presence among us. Anyway, again, thank you so much. Some of you we probably will invite to share your opinion or your feelings about it's an exchange of ideas, exchange of feelings about your guru or who you consider to be your spiritual master. But you are in the presence of our spiritual master, and you will get a short introduction, Thakur Nivananda. And Thakur Nivananda, in one line, has asked us to try to be a good human being. And so you have joined us in their quest, and we're not there. Some of us may be there, but at least I'm nowhere close, but most of us at least try to be on that path. Joy.
Jai Guru. Next we have Ashwin Bhai. He will talk about the objectives of the Sadharan Sabha.
Joy Guru, Parandhir Thakur Maharaj, and our beloved Parichalaka, and the President, and all our guests who could join us today. I have the unique privilege to talk about the purpose of Sadharan Sabha, and this is a good precursor for this for next an hour and a half session here. Just to share a little bit more to what Vijay Bhai was saying, why we are here and what is this purpose of the Sadharan Sabha, what is to expect, what's to learn. And so that's what I wanted to, I'd like to share a few things. So Samilani, that is 3-day session, and one of the first 2-day sessions are primarily focused on internal development, that is reflection of how to become a good human being. That's the first important session. The second one is all about the power of Sangha, why the power of Sangha is needed to lead, provide leadership in the community as well as being part of the, within the community leader as well as the greater society. And the third day is all about the Sadharan Sabha, which is this session. It is about exchanging the ideas between the different communities, spiritual practices, who have the same destination but may have a different path to get there. And whether it's our Sangha, whether it's ISKCON, whether it's a Jagannatha Society, these are all the different paths to get to the same destinations. So, having said that, our Guruji, our beloved, what we call Thakura, when he really started about the Samilani, one of the things that the fundamental principle was to make sure that there is no sort of his picture. He didn't want to put his portrait or picture for during the Samilani Puja, so that devotees didn't want to, if they are practicing different Ishta, they wouldn't feel uncomfortable of being there. So he made it very universal and generic enough so that everyone, all the different sectarians, different spiritual faith could still be, could come to the Samilani and be the part of the joyous occasion and feel the connectedness to the Almighty through their Guru, through their Ishta, through their practices what they have. And that is the uniformity and universality of the preaching that Thakura has shared. And just to share a couple of examples, the initial days of Samilani, Thakura has used to have Sri Gaurangadev and Sri Shankaracharya's pictures and portrait. This is the amalgamation of the path of devotion and the path of knowledge. And after so many years, the devotees felt that their Guru and Ishta the same, and then started to put Thakura's picture there. But that's the universality that Thakura used to bring, the fundamental of how people need to come together. And even his the Joy Guru Nama, Joy Guru is the praise of the Lord, praise of the Guru. This is nothing about Thakura Nigamananda itself. Whoever our respective Guru is, you are absolutely open to practice and follow that path. So there are so many examples like that, that Thakura has really thought through what would be the world where different types of practices and faith people can come together and under the same roof and still practice their own faith to get to that spiritual journey what they have. And what he really envisioned probably 110 years ago, we are still trying to achieve that. And that is the vision Thakura had back then, and we are just the little elements to carry his message forward. And so that's what I would like to, and the way also the world is changing, I would like to sort of say what would potentially maybe 25 years from now, what that would be. I think the Western world has proven a lot of things, that the material life is no longer sustainable to have a spiritual and a good societal life. And I think that has been proven really wrong. And a lot of organizations now are coming together, working some fundamental research to say that next 25 years is going to be the transformational change in the society across the world, where people not only will aspire for the spiritual practice, but also they in addition to the spiritual practice, materialistic and philosophy, and those three things would come together for them to have a really good human being, and then that will have a sustainable progress in their family. And we are being part of that journey. This society or this organization, we are just trying to be ready for that change with the right mindset, with the right spiritual practice. And we are very privileged to have the ISKCON as well as other organization representative here to share their ideas with us so that we can learn from each other and take this message forward. Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Next, Omnu Bhai will talk about the biography of the Thakur. In my opinion, this is the hardest job of all. His life is full of events. Thakur's life full of events, and choosing some of them and covering those in 20 minutes, I find it's almost impossible. So, but anyway, given that we have to finish the session by 5 o'clock, so we are constrained by the time. So, on the way, please start.
Joy Guru, Prana Thakura, Bhakta Bhai Mamane, and all our esteemed guests. As Brajabhai spoke very correctly, right? And probably that was my first sentence. Like, Thakura's Jivani has so many details that you just cannot put every details here in a small summary. So I beg forgiveness from everyone. The summary I want to provide, there could be a lot of mistakes, and maybe I'm not putting things correctly here. I beg forgiveness from Thakura and everyone. So with that, let me start about Thakura. So Thakura is called Sarvabhauma Guru, which means he is the master of the universe and achieved Siddhi in 4 different directions in the spiritual journey: Yoga, Tantra, Jnana, and Prema. So let's compare what this means. So imagine, like, I know a lot of people here are PhD holders. So several times, like Jnanabhai would say that all of this journey is like, single journey is like one single PhD degree. I have a PhD and I know how difficult to achieve like one PhD. Imagine Thakura did 4 PhDs in just a matter of few years. How he did it, why he did it. He was basically born as a normal human being. But what caused him to go from the path of normal human being to some path, to this path, to do this 4 PhDs? This is what I'm going to tell about. I will compare his life to be normal at every point of time. At every point of time, he has thought himself, I'm a normal human being. But how he has been inspired, how he has been nudged to actually achieve all this, different siddhis is what makes the story interesting. Okay, so here we go. So I don't want to speak about timelines. I had a script, like a 10-page script. Then Sarojit Bhai saw my script and said that, this is too long. Probably you don't want to speak about the timelines here. Probably Bhai can actually read our Jivani to get all the timelines. Probably this is the time where I want to highlight more summary of important events that has happened in Thakura's life. Just like everyone, Thakura has a very normal childhood. He was a normal child, he was naughty, he was mischievous, which led his parents to enroll him in school. But he had a sharp intellect. He did really well in his exams, excelled across his peers. Now, let's say this is his childhood, maybe 7 or 8 years, or maybe 9 years. Then how did things get started here? So when he was actually 9 years old, his aunt, maternal aunt, asked him to light a lamp in one of his family temple, or Chandi temple. So he went there to light the lamp. And suddenly, the lamp was illuminated in a form of a circular shape. In that shape, he saw a small girl with 10 hands smiling at him. Of course, for a 9-year child, that vision is something maybe frightening, and he got frightened. He just threw the lamp and went out of the temple. He just went to his mother and told all about the incident. His mother practically became really happy, saying that Durga Ma has blessed him. But somehow his father had this hint that, maybe this child has to do something great, and probably that is the path of sannyasa. And his father was always very scared of his visions. Then what happened at the age of 13? His mother passed away. Naturally, I think in many families, if you see, when somebody of your very near and dear pass away, you tend to lose the spirituality or any path that you take in religion. You lose faith in that. And Thakur, like any other normal human being, also became an aesthetic person. He did not want to believe in all this spiritual or religious practices. He just wanted to move away from it. But he had a sense of, to help his father out at that tender age as well. He was thinking of his father, that, I need to pursue studies so that I can get a job and help my father, because he's alone now. So, going further, at the age of 17, he got married to Sadharan Sabha. She was a beautiful person. She was, at the tender age, she was so mature that she would take care of family, of Thakur's family entirely on her own, without nothing to do. I don't know how she could able to do it. Thakur was trying to find a job, eventually find a job, and he started staying in a remote place, while Sadharan Sabha, his wife, started staying in his father's place and helping out his family. Although they were remote, they were leading a very virtuous, married life. At one point of time, Thakur was basically, raised by his maternal place, like his grandmother and maternal aunts. So what happened is, they had spent a lot of money, into his education, into his marriage. At that time, I read, he spent 1,200 in his marriage, which was considered pretty big amount. So naturally, they had this thing that they would consider him as, that Thakur would take care of them. But what happened is, Thakur was more keen to help out his father, so he asked Sadharan Sabha that they should move out to his father's place because he was cooking alone. And at that time, his maternal people got really angry. So at that point of time, he realized that this world, although everybody is their own, could be really selfish. Your father, your mother, your sister, your brother, everybody could be selfish. So in his Yogi Guru, he actually tells that world is my first guru, because no one is your own. And that is he tend to learn things on his own sometimes, and through the nudge, and then the nudge part happens. So what happens is, once Sadharan Sabha actually visited him in the Narayanpur where he was working, and then they had a good life out there. And at that point of time, Sadharan Sabha conceived. Sadharan Sabha had a deteriorated health condition, so she came back to her in-laws' place, while Thakur stayed at Narayanpur. In the meanwhile, what happened that Thakur had a son who actually just lived for 10 days and died. And after a few days or months, Sadharan Sabha died as well. So Thakur didn't know about all of this. Thakur was busy in his work in Narayanpur, and in one night he saw that Sadharan Sabha was standing just like she used to stand in front of a study table. And she was amazed, how this person who stays at Kutubpur, which was his Thakur's place, can come immediately to Narayanpur. That was not possible. He saw a form, lustrous form, with a very gloomy face, and he was scared. So he went back to his place to find that his wife is dead. And his wife had asked before dying to his aunt that asked Thakur to follow Naistra Guna Sadhana, which is beyond the sadhana of three tattvas, Raja, Tama, and Sattva, with the help of a Sadguru. Thakur could not understand any of this. It was beyond his capability to understand. But then the nudge happens more. Thakur got more visions of her. Thakur was okay, we have this body. This is a gross body. Is there something beyond this gross body? He failed to understand. But his wife Sadharan Sabha kept appearing in his home. For some reason he went to Kolkata for his work. She also appeared there. Thakur meanwhile did not do any shraddha for her, and she kind of asked to do a shraddha for her. Thakur did. He gave some offering and waited that Sadharan Sabha in her subtle body should accept that food. But then he waited for long and said that no one has eaten anything. He could not understand why it's happened. Then he started to eat that thing on his own, and then Sadharan Sabha stopped him, saying that, as a subtle body, I have accepted the subtle part of the food. So now all of this, triggers in Thakur's mind. He was generally a curious person. He was an intelligent person, but he was also very curious to understand, is there something beyond this gross body that could exist, that could talk with us? So he wanted to do on his own research. So meanwhile, what he thought that he can go to Adyar, which is in Chennai. At that time it was run by two persons named Madam Blavatsky and Colonel Alpert. In Adyar, they teach you to communicate with soul via medium, nothing else. So he learned all the forms that he could do just to communicate to the soul by. But he was not satisfied because he could not communicate with the soul directly. He could only communicate via a medium. So then he felt like, okay, this is where I'm limited to here. I need to move ahead. So then he went to Kolkata again. There he thought, maybe I can find a guru, or maybe I can ask some learned person to ask these questions. So he finally met Punananda Swami, who was a guru. Remember, after his mother's death, he was become like a ascetic, and he did not really believe into spiritual or religious practices. He considered all the sannyasins and sadhus as fake sadhus because he never believed in them. But looking at Punananda Swami, he thought that this guy, who's a professor, how can he pursue this path? He was very surprised. So he went and talked to him with him, and Punananda Swami asked him to find his own guru, saying that he has to find, Adya Sakti, because his wife has merged in the soul of Adya Sakti. But how to find the guru, he doesn't know. But what Punananda Swami advised him to do, that you have to start some spirituality or practice here to get started. So eventually started, he became a vegetarian, he wanted to pray and do all the stuff that he wanted to do. He did, and then waited. And ultimately, in one night, on his dream, there was a saint appear and gave him one mantra. Now he got the mantra, but what to do with it? In Kolkata, he went everywhere, nobody could understand the mantra. Then he went to Kashi, which is now known as Badrinath, and again tried to find the answer. Ultimately, he could not find the answer. He said that maybe I should commit suicide. The day, he decided to commit, and the same night, Lord Vishwanath appeared and asked him to go to Tarapet, where he needs to meet his guru, Pamakhepa. So now you can see, every point of time he fails as a normal human being, and suddenly a nudge appears. So this is the point of time when he now knows that I have to go to Tarapet to meet Pamakhepa. Pamakhepa, just looking at the mantra, said that you are blessed, my son. So he agreed to perform all the required education for him to achieve the Tantra Sadhana or achieve the Adya Shakti. So he does this Tantra Sadhana. He meets the Mother of Universe, Adya Shakti, and asks for, when Adya Shakti asks for a boon, like what is the boon? Because in every Tantra Sadhana at the Siddhi time, she will ask for a boon, and you have to kind of say what the boon you need. So he asked that whenever and wherever I want you, you should appear. So now he came back with the Tantra Sadhana Siddhi to his own home and started interacting with Mother of Universe at wherever and whenever he needs. But there was a limitation. Now he could communicate with the soul, but he could not touch. Now what's he need? He felt really frustrated. Oh my God. Okay, now I'm limited by my own bound. He went back to his guru, Pamakhepa, and asked him, why I'm seeing this, that somebody emerged from me and somebody then merged within me, then who am I? So Pamakhepa a little bit get pissed off. So he, talked to his Ishta Devi, Tara Devi, and asked what could be done for this child. So Tara Devi instructed for Thakur to go and do optimal jnana sadhana. So, like every human being, he went back to normalcy, and again he get nudged, like he need to do jnana sadhana in addition to tantra sadhana. So he went to West to find his Jnani Guru. Imagine this person who is doing all the struggle just to understand like what's happening beyond the death and how to talk to his wife again. He could become he was really hungry, and to pursue his goal, he could even eat mud. Finally, he reaches Ajmer, where he meet his guru, Sachidananda Swami. So, Sachidananda Swami do not readily, try to accept him as a sannyasa, because he thinks that all these Bengali people are very luxurious people, and they cannot perform this hardcore. They cannot basically leave out their egoism and perform and can commit to sannyasi, becoming a sannyasi. So he made him do all kinds of hard work that he was never did in his own life. But he had this commitment that I have to achieve this goal. So with that commitment, he did try to do as much as possible. And then finally, Sachidananda Swami gave him the sannyasa monkhood. So after his monkhood, Sachidananda Swami asked him to visit 4 dhams like Badrinath, Dwarka, Puri, and Rameshwar. So in the first visit, he accompanied his guru accompanied him to Badrinath. On his way, he met Gaurima, which I'll come back in the later part of the contest in Himalayas. And then while going to Mansarovar, he saw this angelic beauties, in the lake, and he asked "Oh, who are these?" So his guru said that, you have now your inner eye open that can see them. Normal people cannot see them. He asked them why. He said that, there are 7 lokas, and every loka has 7 layers, so there are total 49 layers. And each layer, human being, like the people from the lower layer, cannot see the human beings from the upper layer. Only a yogi can see that, or who have achieved some siddhi can see that. So with that, he came back. He went visited all the other places, and then his guru asked him to go and find a yogi guru, because now he learned all the theory. He needs to practice it. So he has to find a yogi guru. So from there, he moved to West again. But again, here at this point of time, after doing 2 PhDs, 2 sadhanas, tantra and jnana, he was frustrated like a normal human being. So he said, "Oh my God, I have to start this process again. I can't. It's hard." He was thinking like a normal human being there. Then again, he went back to search for a yogi guru. He went to West. He met one yogini who guided him to again go back to the East to find his yogi guru. He went back. He went to first came to Calcutta and then went to Kamakhya, where he was going in a pilgrimage. And when he felt really ill, there were certain tribal people that helped him out. And in the meanwhile, there was a lot of healing places nearby where you see beautiful sunset. So one day, he just went there to see the sunset. While returning, he lost his way. He doesn't know how to go back to the village where those tribal people are trying to help him. So, afraid and concerned, look at this person. He has 2 sadhana, but still afraid and concerned like a normal human being again here. He thought that I can sit inside a tree, so to avoid creatures and all things. So he tried to take a rest, and then suddenly in the middle of night, there was some campfire lit beneath the tree. He climbed down out of the tree and saw there is a sadhu sitting there. And the sadhu stood up and said, "Follow me." He followed. They reached near a cave, and the sadhu introduced himself, his yogi guru, Sumiridas. He taught him the processes and the practices, how to follow the yoga, but he said that this cannot be achieved here because you cannot get the appropriate food that is needed for this yoga. You need really rich food of protein and fats to be able to do this. This is very difficult path. So he learned the basics of it, and then he went to different places. Finally, eventually came to Yogeswara Biswas and Saraju Devi's house, where he tried to practice all these yogic practices. Basically with the help of Yogeswara Biswas and Saraju Devi, who just considered them as own child. So what happens with this practice process. This is a very difficult process. You have to do 1 year of yoga practices where you have to cleanse all your body, and then you have to do pranayama sadhana, and then you have to follow. So there are different steps to finally go to do something like Savikalpa Samadhi. So this took, he did it in stages. Like first he did for 1 day, where his subtle body would leave the gross body and take some time to return back. And he instructed Saraju Devi that, with the proper instruction, like once I'm unconscious, after 1 day, you can try to make me come back by doing this, following some process. After 1 day, so remember, like during this time, the moment you leave the body, and more the time you leave the body, it's also harder to come back to the same body. So he did the process for 1 day, then he did the process for 3 days, for which Saraju Devi it took really long time for his body to come back. Then he did for 7 days, where he went to 7 lokas and visited every part of the lokas. Finally, he thought that, okay, I achieved some part of it, and he had this eager interest to achieve Nirvikalpa Samadhi, which is going beyond the lokas, going beyond the time and space continuum. So on 1 day, he went to the hilltop of Kamakhya. There is a temple, Bhubaneswar temple, where he set to do the Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So what happened in that process is that his subtle body left his gross body and crossed 7 lokas. In the Savikalpa Samadhi, he had reached the 7 loka. Now that crossed beyond the 7 loka to reach a halo, and then finally reach a dark place where he already immersed in himself, considering that I'm Guru. That feeling has already immersed inside him. Within the darkness, he saw a small light, and the moment he saw that light, he came back through that light to his own body with full consciousness that I'm Guru. He achieved this. This is great height in the spiritual journey, and he was excited, again like a normal human being, to share his feelings to his Jnani Guru, Satchidananda. So on his way to meet Satchidananda, he found that there is a Sarvabhauma Samrani, in just like our Samrani, although in large form, is getting held at Pushkar. So there was this head of all the saints, Sankaracharya Sringari Mat, was sitting in the center, and there were all the saints, in which one of his Guru was there. He went first to that congregation and offered his pranam to his own Guru rather than to Sankaracharya, who was sitting in the center. And other Gurus was like, oh, why did this? Then he said that my Guru is Jagat Guru, with everyone agreed to it. Sankaracharya asked him a lot of things, and then finally he was satisfied with his learnings that he has achieved, and gave him a title, or bestowed him a title of Paramahansa. Now, Thakur was again, okay, now I achieved something called Brahman or Parama Brahman, and he had some sense of egoism there. He really did not believe, like for example, he went to Kashi, and he heard something. There is like any newcomer coming to Kashi those days would not leave out as hungry, and he wanted to test this veracity. So the moment he wanted to test this veracity, that he was not believing that God could come as a simple human being. So he had not this belief. So he sat on the guard in a meditation, and he saw some lady left some food for him, or not food for him, but left some packet, and saying that she is going to take the bath, and please take care of it while I come back. After he came to meditation, he saw that the food is still there, and the lady is gone. So he opened and he found Sita Bhog. Sita Bhog cannot be, he felt amused because Sita Bhog is not available in that place. So while in the night, while she was sleeping, he found in his dream, Annapurna Devi came saying that your knowledge is incomplete. Although you have achieved Parama Brahma, you have not achieved Abara Brahma, that God lives inside everybody. So with that, he had to figure out what he can do to achieve this. So remember, like I talked about Gaurima, when during his journey to Badrinath, he remembered that and thought that maybe I should go to Gaurima to achieve or whatever thing needed to learn this. So he went to Gaurima, and Gaurima instilled him the learning of Prema Bhakti, that God manifested everywhere and God, give blessings to everyone. God take care of every one of his child. So with that, in the middle while he was doing all these practices, Tara Devi appeared again and is saying that in your past life, you have wished for me to be your wife. So in this life, you have achieved this. And now I'll be your wife. But provided that you do one thing, you have to now go out and be a guru and teach everyone to achieve the salvation. You have to remove the ignorance from this world. But then he was not into this. Again, a human being. Then why I should do this? Okay, I'll wrap up. Why he should do this? So, although he went back to Yogeshwar Viswas house in which he practiced the yoga sadhana to do the bhava samadhi. At constant time he would be in bhava samadhi, and he would see God everywhere in every living and non-living object. And sometimes he would create such an embarrassing situation that he had to leave that place and go to a village in which he actually even the mother goddess started to live with him in form of human and flesh. Although after some period of time, the mother goddess tried to nudge him again that now this is a time. You have achieved whatever you have achieved. Now you have to come out as guru. But Thakur was not ready to prepare to be guru because he said the world is an arrogant place. No one will believe me. No one will learn whatever I say. But she tried to force and nudge him again. But Thakur went out and started doing teachings. But he saw that people cannot believe him. So he started writing books to educate people. So he started writing books like Yogi Guru, followed by other 3 books, Jnani Guru, Tantra Guru, and Premika Guru. He opened up ashrams at various places. In 1912, he established Saraswat Mutt, which was later in 1918 known as Assam Bangir Saraswat Mutt. Then later, he moved to Puri, where his sermons where he preached 2 aspects of our spirituality, Jnana and Prema. That these both are needed to achieve salvation. So, as I said, I just want to conclude here, as I said, Thakur was just like a normal human being. He was never into this to practice or do 4 PhDs. He always wanted to be a normal human being, but this just slight nudges at every point of his life kind of pushed and kind of encouraged or motivated him to achieve all his sadhanas. With that, I beg forgiveness from Shri Thakur Maharaj, from every Bhakta Bhai Ma and our esteemed guest. If I made any mistakes, please forgive me. Thank you. Joy.
Joy Guru. Next, Gyanavai will sing a song. Dhanya Dhanya Guru.
Joy. Joy. Dhanya Dhanya Guru Deva Sri Nigamananda. Victory Galabha Kate Atura Ananda Kuma Tumpadesa Chete Sati Mate যেতে বিধি করে ভাগ্যবন্ত জননী প্রিয়রা জননী প্রিয়রা রখিলে
necessity of spirituality in a modern world.
Jai Guru, dear Thakur, dear Sarat Bhai, Prabhuji, our guests, and all my bhais and young aspirants. So this topic which actually Vishwajit Bhai suggested, the necessity of spirituality in modern world, I found it really important. I don't think there is any other time than now when the spirituality is more needed. Today, if you go and ask anybody, and ask a simple question, why do you do what you do? Not many people will answer, I am searching God. Not many people will say that I want to make it a better world. They will say that I want to earn a living. And if you do a simple question further, why do you want to earn a good living? He said, what are you talking about? Many people will stop there. If they do answer you, they will say that I want to do a better living so that I can raise my kids better. Then if you ask, why do you want to raise your kids better? I want them to give a better life. I want to send them to good school. They can get a good job. Then if you keep on asking that, let's say your kid go to good school, get a good education, get a better job, why do you want to do that? The answer comes, I want to be happy. The question is why you are not happy right now? Why you want to defer your happiness until your kid goes to a good school, get a good job, and then you want to be happy? So what happens is that we defer our happiness for something else because we don't see that we can be happy from the idea that happiness is dependent on external objects. That's the matter. That is the basis of materialism. So we run away from the spiritual path, which is the cause of all our suffering in this world, the hallucination of materialism. Today I want to tell you that with all the advances of modern science, and we have gone to space, supercomputers, artificial intelligence and whatnot we have created on the basis of a simple premise that there is a material world out there, and if you can acquire enough material objects, I'm going to be happy. And which has been proven again and again that is not the case. Because the matter changes, our object of desire changes, and even if we get satisfaction for some time, the nature of objective reality is such that it is time bound. It has a beginning, it has a middle, and it ends. We never attain the permanent happiness which our soul is longing for. If you ask further people that in this world, if you ask people who are the happiest people in this world, actually they are the kids. So far, they have not been molded with the material hallucination or material illusion. They are the happy people. Irrespective of the age, gender, ethnicity, if you take a baby, everybody loves them. But then the same baby grows up and creates all kinds of mess, misery, suffering in the world. The most ruthless dictator was once born as a baby, and he was still picked up by anybody who saw them, and he turned out to be a ruthless dictator at some point. What is that? This is the society where we grow, and the lack of spirituality is the reason behind. Today, if you go and we have made a lot of advancement in science and technology, and the way materialism works, and I work in the medical field. You go and ask any doctor, how do they look at a human being? It's a machine. It's a biological machine somehow it has become conscious. Consciousness is treated as an epiphenomenon. It's not the phenomenon. It is considered an epiphenomenon. Just like your pancreas produces pancreatic juice or your stomach produces hydrochloric acid, the consciousness arises in the brain chemistry. And if in that basis of treatment, one of the biggest fallacies, you go to the same doctor, get two people treated for the same condition, belonging to the same ethnicity, same age group, same conditions, everything, but one person survives, another dies. Why is that? Because we don't treat people as, we treat people as machines. That is what we think, but we are not that. So the modern science and technology has gone a little further. They talk about psychoanalysis and they take mind into consideration. If you talk about the consciousness, they will talk about mind. But it is not the mind too, because mind is also created. All of our states of mind can be triggered by taking, for instance, drug. People can go to some altered state of awareness, some sort of hallucination, some sort of joy state. That is not the mind. Who we are actually is not the mind, not the body. We are actually spirit. We are actually souls. So the mind, the body, is actually our experience of the material world as an object. It is the objective experience of the material world through our body, and the subjective experience of this world is through our mind, but we are not body, we are not the mind, we are actually spirit. So the way to think about it is you can think human body as the, let's say, computer, the hardware, and the mind is like a software. But we are not the computer, we are the user of the computer. What is the confusion is, we take the instrument, which is the human body, as me. We are actually the user of the instrument, but we are not the instrument itself. That is what we call the Hatmabodha, or the identification with the body. So the whole spiritual journey goes back to asking this question, who am I, what do I want, what is my purpose in life, and where shall I go when I die? And as a kid, we always ask this question. I used to take the young aspirant sessions long back, and young kids ask this question, who am I, where do I come from? As we grow up, we forget about it. Who am I? I answer that I'm a businessman, or I'm a scientist, I'm an engineer. That becomes our definition, which is not the deepest answer, and which is pretty transient, and it can change any moment. And then the questions remain unanswered. So the spirituality is going back to asking those questions, that who am I, where do I come from, what is my purpose, and where shall I go after I die? If you go and ask to a modern day scientist, so-called steeped in materialism, and you say that, do you think there is a spirit, there is a soul, there is God? They will say it is not, we all came from nature. And if you ask where the nature came from, and they will go back to 13.7 billion years when Big Bang started, and then you ask what was there before Big Bang, now goes to you. And then when Big Bang happens at t is equal to 0, the quantum evolution kicks after the quantum, there is Planck's time constant. And nobody has any answer what happened between t is equal to 0 and t is equal to Planck's time. No answer. Okay, so the entire evolution. Even today with the Hubble telescope and modern discoveries, what we know today is that 96% of the observable universe, whatever we know, we don't know anything about it. It's called dark matter and dark energy. Only 4% of the observable universe can be explained with what we understand the physics. But out of that 4% of the existing universe, if you go to the atomic scale, they are all empty, by the way. 99% is empty. Atom is pretty, you can think of it as a pretty empty sphere. So what we understand is very minuscule. And the another way, if you look at it, where the materialism takes us, is that we think about how the universe, what it is about, and the modern view is, let's break it down. Anything I want to understand the modern world is break it down to small pieces. Okay, that's called the reductionism. We broke it down and we got into atom. We said that we now understand. Then we broke the atoms. Then we went to subatomic particles. Then we thought we understand everything. And if you go down and down, we have made a lot of advances. The physics which governs the subatomic, the world of subatomic structures and things is called quantum physics. And quantum physics is extremely weird. Extremely weird. And in fact, it gives the glimpse of the God, if you think so. So the quantum physics, if I don't go through this, it has the three fundamental premises. I call it ONE1. O is called the observatory effect. Observatory effect means until quantum came, we all thought that the world is out there and I am the observer. I can observe it objectively. That means the world is independent of who I am. And in the quantum world, that's not the case. The observer started to be part of the experiment. Who is asking the question, whether the particle or it's a wave, what kind of experiment I'm designing, nature mimics to that. Think about it. So for the first time, we got entangled into the oneness. It is not that I'm a separate scientist who is observing the world out there, but I'm the part of the same game now. Still, transcendence is not there. It is still materialism, but it has given a lot of glimpse into it. The second one, ONE, N is non-locality. The subatomic world is not location-based. Something going from A to B doesn't take a path. It just disappears there, appears there. You can think of it like omnipresence of the God. And then the third one is the most baffling, is called entanglement. ONE is the entanglement. And I used to directly work on a quantum communication systems based on those principles. You take two subatomic particles, whatever, or photon, and separate them miles apart. And you make one measurement on the other one instantaneously changes. How does it know what I want to do? That's the mystery, and Einstein was totally baffled by it, and he never accepted. He said, God doesn't play dice with nature. It cannot happen. But it was proven beyond doubt by scientists like Alan Aspect and others. I happened to meet Alan Aspect in one of the conferences in Switzerland quite some time back. He proved it beyond doubt, and he got Nobel Prize, by the way, last year on that quantum entanglement, which is a true nature. Because the problem with Einstein was that if it knows somehow, it should take the speed of light, at least sometime, but it happens t is equal to 0 instantaneously. So there is an underlying field which surpasses the material domain, where everything is connected to everything else. If spirituality has one definition, that definition is this, that we are all connected. We are not separate. Separation is the illusion that is coming out of our strong belief that the material reality is the reality. The material reality is not reality. It is only one aspect, one expression of the consciousness. Consciousness constructs, governs, organizes everything behind this thing. You can call it God, you can call it awareness, whatever name you want to give it. So today, with the lack of time, I'm not going to be able to explain the full scope of this field of consciousness and awareness and spirituality. I would like to leave with few insights. You may think about it. I have no ownership on everything I'm saying or sharing. It has all the grace of my guru and my own reading and practice of meditation, and and these are the things. Spirituality is such things. It is with everyone. If you go deep inside, you will realize those things for yourself. Maybe I'm just going to remind you what you already know. So the first insight I would like to share with you: spirit is everything. Okay, not matter is everything. Not mind is everything. Spirit is everything. It differentiates itself into objective world and a subjective world. We call it mind and matter, but it is the source of everything. Okay, so that is the first insight. Spirit is everything. So there is a beautiful second one. I have a lot to think about, but lack of time. The second insight I would like to tell is the wholeness is always there. Even if the material world has fragmented everything into small pieces, that illusion has fragmented, but if you put your attention to any object, you can find the wholeness there. Okay. So there is a beautiful story. Buddha was giving a talk, and he was supposed to give a talk, and he comes and stands with a rose in his hand, and he doesn't speak anything. He stands, and go back. And in the front row, there is many disciples like Ananda and Sariputra and all others were sitting, and Ananda all at a sudden goes to meditative state. They asked him, what did happen? He didn't speak anything. Oh, we just saw a rose in his hand, that's all it is. And you got into meditation, meditative state. They wake him up, he said, I just saw the rose, but at the same time, I also saw the plant. I also saw the earth on which it was grown. I also saw the air, the water, the whole universe. That is mimicking in his hand as a rose flower. Because this rose is connected to the whole universe, has to come together to create that rose. Today we are even much more advanced in terms of advance in technology to understand what we call a holographic universe. The term some of you are sure acquainted with long back. Exactly 20 years back, I was an intern when I was doing my PhD long back, and I used to work on those holograms. You take it and cut it into very tiny small piece. Every piece will have the entire information of the main hologram you made, no matter how small you cut it. So put your attention on any one thing. If you do it enough, you will find the whole universe right there. That is the second insight. Third insight, only a couple of minutes. So third insight, I will be probably another 2-3 minutes. So the third insight I would like to share with all of you is the transcendence. Transcendence is, if you pay attention, that you know that you are having a thought. Everybody tells that, I had a thought. That means you are not the thought. Otherwise, how can you say that I had a thought? Because you are somebody who is watching the thought. And that watcher is you. That is the source. That is actually the awareness. And the thought, being between the two thoughts, is the gap. That is where God resides, if I can say so. Because if you can get into the meditation, slip into that gap, you can find your true self. That is the state where you can have the connectivity with the omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent God. Actually, to be honest, we always think that we are human beings having occasional spiritual experiences, but actually the other way. We are actually spiritual beings having occasional human experience. So that is the third insight. The fourth insight I would like to share with all of you is that synchronicity and meaningful coincidence are the glimpse when spirit talks to you. So pay attention to that. And the fifth insight I would like to share with all of you is that the life, I think with lack of time, I'm always struggling with the time. Let me stop with this thing with one thing. Actually, to be very deeply speaking, life has no purpose. The purpose and meaning has to be created by us, what we want from this life. If we want a life of happiness, a life of joy, a life of service, let be the servants. Let serve each other. Let's serve the God. Let be the servants of God. Okay. With this thing, I will start. Joy.
I'd like to invite Mr. Dhirendra Pada to share a few words. Some of you don't know probably that Dhira is like my younger brother. We both passed from the same high school actually back home. So he is several years junior to me, but
Just a few.
नमस्कार आज पवित्र गुरु पूर्णिमा आपण मानकु समस्त भाई माँ मानकु मोर नमस्कार भगवान किए कौटी अछंती आम सहित तार संपर्क कौन ए प्रश्न जुग जुग धरी सब समय किए ना किए पचारचंती किए ताको आंसर करचंती तर्जमा करचंती किंतु किए पाइचंती न पाइचंती सेटा से जुग रे केबे तार आंसर मिलनी बुद्ध को देवता हिसाब से पूजा कराएनी तांको समय रामचंद्र को जो पर्यंत वनवास न फेरी से पर्यंत राजा रामचंद्र होती किंतु मर्यादा पुरुष रामचंद्र होती बहुत समय पर जो आम राम नाम टाक मनरे एवं प्राणर चिंता कर मुझे विश्वास करे जदि भगवान के अच्छा आमरी भितर अच्छा आमरी हृदय भितर अच्छा तेणु मुझे भगवान को खोजापी बाहर को जीवी पाइबी कि नहीं से कथा कही पारि किंतु गोटे मनीष को जब भगवान भाविकी तार सेवा करी किसी करी किसी न कही पारे भी पदे भल कथा कही पारि से पारे भगवान जो जिनसा देते समस्त इफ आई कैन गिव ए स्माइल टू ईच देम टू स्पीक टू देयर हार्ट that will be the best thing, best tribute and best worship. So for us, all of us, the real God is our parents. So our existence is because of them. So if you want to have anything in life, you can have everything, but you will never ever can have a mother. You have to take another bath to experience that and to get a mother. So you don't have to go anywhere to find the God. And the second, after the parents, the other one God that exists is Guru, who actually enlightens you to see the world, to experience the world and live the world. So on this auspicious day, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva, Maheshwara, गुरु साक्षात परम ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरु नमः। जय जगन्नाथ।
Short and sweet. Manoj, you want to say share something? Okay, so we'll go to Rotonda. So he will sing a song, Bengali song. He has a Bandhava Bhobe.
He's going to change it.
I'm going to change. Okay, different song. Okay.
যেজন ভ্রান্ত জনে করে শান্ত ভ্রান্ত জনে করে শান্ত ঘুচায় মনের অন্ধকার কে আছে বান্ধব ভাবে গুরু বিনা যে যারা ছোট পরিবার বলো তুমি যারা ছোট পরিবার বলো তুমি সাথে আঘা দিয়ে দেখো দেখি আঘা দিয়ে দেখো দেখি কে বারো মাত তুমি কে আছে বান্ধব বলে দুর্গতি কে আছে বান্ধব বিনে দুর্গতি কেহ তোমার নয় রে আপন মায়া ডোরে করে বন্ধ কেহ তোমার নয় রে আপন মায়া ডোরে করে বন্ধ চৌথাটা বলদের মতন চৌথাটা বলদের মতন ঘুরায় তোমার কে ভালো কে আছে বান্ধব বলে গুরু বিনিয়া কে আছে বান্ধব বলে গুরু বিনিয়া কেটে ফেলো মায়ার বন্ধন দেখো তুমি মেলে নয়ন কেটে ফেলে মায়ার বন্ধন দেখো তুমি নয়ন মেলে নয়ন তোমার দুঃখে দুঃখী কেউ নাই দুঃখে দুঃখী কেউ নাই ভগে বিনে গুরু সাহারা কে আছে বান্ধব বিনে গুরু বিনিয়া কে আছে বান্ধব ভবে গুরু বিনিয়া বন্ধু বান্ধব যত তোমার কেউ না নিবে তোমার ভার বন্ধু বান্ধব যত তোমার কেউ না নিবে তোমার ভার আছেন গুরু কল্প তরুণ নিতে গুরু কল্প তরুণ নিতে তোমার সকল
Jai Guru, Jai Guru.
Dhirubam reminded us that today is Guru Purnima. Dada sang a very beautiful song. Keache Bandhava Bhave Guru Bhinyar. Really, without Guru, who else is our real friend? And Advait, right? Okay. Played Murtama very well. Awesome. That was awesome. Thank you. Next, I would like to invite our guest, Dr. Professor Kailash Mishra, to say a few words. This is very.
Other people in this seminar. Actually, I didn't prepare anything. So, I personally think, that God is within us. And I view all God is to be worshipped. When I came to this area, about 38 years ago, we had only Hindu temple HSNC. And that too, the mountain that you see there on adjacent parkway was not there. It was just being planned. So I became a member there early on. And finally, we were lucky to have Governor and Leo and many other younger people actually. We were less involved in the, if you like to say, politics of it. But anyway, and in the meantime, I think by the leadership of Vijay and Ananjit Bhai and many others, Gyana Bhai, of course, I know him from Richmond. We have Thakur now here. And we have several temples actually in the area now. And personally for me, work is worship, duty is God. And as Vijay said, that what we all persevere to do is to be a good human being and try to contribute to our community in the best possible way we can. Everybody, I personally have my own limitations and I see how I can help somebody. And it is directed mostly towards my students and the children of our community. I am always available if anybody I can help in any way. That's the seva for me. Yes. But I have been aware about Thakur for many, many years now. So actually, Olavita and Vijay and Sanjit, of course. And I came actually here when I think the first Sammelanani was held. Yeah, in this place. And I have been planning to come many times but didn't quite make it for one reason or other. It is really very spiritual environment and we all appreciate it very, very much. And as I said, all God for me, is to be worshipped. And they all teach us to be good human beings. Nothing else. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Mishra. It's an honor to have you here. Next, we'll have remarks by our president of this session.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So today is a very holy day. It's Guru Purnima, and what a day to glorify Guru Dev, and a day to understand the knowledge being handed down to us through the great Vedic literatures that were given to us by Veda Vyas. And I was thinking, Bharat was talking about quantum mechanics and science and how modern science is trying to delve into the mysteries of this material world, how this material world is just a spark of the splendor of Krishna, and how actually the far greater portion of all that be is the spiritual world, and that is good human beings. We live here and we do our work and our dharma, but ultimately the purpose of human life is to realize our relationship with the Supreme Lord. We say Krishna is the Supreme Lord. And of course he has other names. He may come in other avatars, other forms. But there is only one purpose ultimately for our life. Consciousness is not an epiphenomenon, as he so nicely said. The consciousness is there eternally because we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. We are individual spirit souls who have forgotten our original nature, and we've become waylaid in the material world looking for happiness. And there's no happiness here ultimately, Krishna says. Dukhalayam ashashvatam. It's a temporary place, and it's built in with miseries. So I'm going to start today because music and sound and the sound vibration of song, bhajans and mantras, this is a way of unlocking our relationship with Krishna. And so there's a very nice bhajan that's been written by a great Bengali Orient saint, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and it's called Guru Dev. And what more appropriate song to be sung on a day like today than Guru Dev in honor of Sri Thakurji, Srila Prabhupada, Vyasadev, and all the other great Vaishnavas and other saintly persons on this day. So I'll ask my wife Rudrani to lead us in this bhajan, Guru Dev Kripa Bindu Diya. Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachani Nirasesa Srinivadi Prashchachadeshtani. So this song, the translation is, Gurudev, O spiritual master, give to this servant just one drop of mercy. I am lower than a blade of grass. Give me all help. Give me strength. Let me be as you are, without desires or aspirations. I offer you all respects, for thus I may have the energy to know you correctly. Then by chanting the holy name in great ecstasy, all my offenses will cease. When will such mercy fall to this one who is weak and devoid of intelligence? Allow me to be with you. If you examine me, you will find no qualities. Your mercy is all that I'm made of. If you're not merciful unto me, I can only weep, and I will not be able to maintain my life. So our Gurudev gives us everything. And our Gurudev leads us on the path of understanding our relationship with the Lord. And this is what a bona fide spiritual master does. He gives his disciple and his followers the opportunity to really perfect our human form of life by becoming completely conscious of Krishna, of the Lord, of God. And so on this day, it's always nice to be here with friends, glorifying the Supreme Lord, glorifying Guru, and relishing the association, the sadhu sangha, of like-minded souls who understand the real meaning of life isn't what you have, but who you are. And who we are, ultimately, is an eternal servant of the Supreme Lord. We have to understand that. We should understand that. And that's what the whole purpose of spiritual life is. I thought it was interesting when we were taught, when Anupbhai was speaking about Sri Sri Thakur and his biography, how he had gurus, but in the end he met someone in the Gaudiya line. In the Gaudiya line, this is coming from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appeared in the 15th century in Bengal, and he spent much time in Puri for the latter part of his life. And by his example, he taught us what prema is. That is pure love for God. And pure love for the Supreme Lord is uninterrupted and unmotivated love. It doesn't. We're not doing this for a price or for a reward, but we're doing it because that's what we're meant to be doing, serving God. And we may manifest this in our lives in different ways, in our profession, in our family, and in our daily activities. It will come out if we understand this fact. But all of us ultimately are meant to really taste that relationship with the Supreme Lord. And that comes in this age, we understand from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There are different paths to understand the divine, to understand God, and these different paths, they take the practitioner to different understandings. But the highest understanding ultimately is that understanding of bhakti or love. Because one may be very learned, one may be very expert at rituals or yogic activity. But these things, they're not really what interests ultimately the Lord. He's interested in our love. And ultimately, whatever path we follow takes us to that love. Because we're looking for love in this material world, and we're looking in all the wrong places. Because everything here, even if it's, quote, perfect, it can't last forever. And if it doesn't last forever, that doesn't mean that means it doesn't really have the quality of the Supreme Lord's mercy. Because the Supreme Lord's love, the Supreme Lord's abode, the Supreme Lord's entourage and world are eternal. So how to enter into that eternal being, place, and enter that relationship? Well, in this age, the easiest way, the most efficient way, is through the process of bhakti, which of course your guru, Sri Thakurji, really emphasized. He talked about Nam Japa, and I'm sure he relished Nam Kirtan. In other words, it's the name of God repeated over and over again that connects us to the Supreme, because the name of God is not different from the Lord himself. You know, the Christians in their Bible, they have one passage that says, in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was God. And so this is the name. In the beginning there is the name of God, and the name is God. And by hearing the name of God, who's not different from God himself, Krishna, we become attached and connected to the divine person, the Supreme Lord. Now, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he taught this while he was on this earth, and there's one instructive story about his teachings that I would like to relate today, because it deals with what's superior. Is jnana superior, or is bhakti superior? And of course, both of them are needed in one way, because without jnana, bhakti is not informed, and without being informed in bhakti, one doesn't understand what we're really doing. But ultimately, our real goal is to have that relationship of God with Krishna, and that relationship is rekindled by chanting the holy name. So I'm going to go to a section of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is a biography of the Supreme Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this is, I'm going to read some and paraphrase some so the story can flow. This is a story about Lord Chaitanya while he was traveling around India and the different people he met. And while he was in Benares, which we know Benares is a place of great learning, and many monists are there, persons who have this impersonal understanding of the Supreme Lord, persons who, followers of the impersonalistic teachings or the Gyan teachings of persons like Sankaracharya and others. So he's in Benares, and he's a sannyasi, a young sannyasi, but he's noticed by some other sannyasis who have been well established there over the years, and they want to meet him. They want to know what he's doing, because they're interested in why this young sannyasi doesn't associate with them, and why he's doing things that they consider unusual for a sannyasi. So as soon as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw the sannyasis, he immediately offered his obeisances, and then he went to wash his feet. And after washing his feet, he sat down in the place where people wash their feet in a humble gesture. Because these were great sannyasis. They were headed by a man named Prakasananda. And Prakasananda Saraswati had many, many thousands of disciples in Benares. While he's sitting on the ground, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited mystic power, and he was very effulgent, like millions of suns, it's described. In other words, everyone could see that he was not an ordinary personality. Just like you were speaking about your guru, he was ordinary, but he was transformed. Well, Lord Chaitanya was never ordinary and transformed. He always was absolutely the Supreme Lord. So, when the sannyasis saw the brilliant illumination of the body of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their minds were attracted, and they all immediately gave up their sitting places and stood in respect. to this young sannyasi. He's only in his 20s. The leader of the Mayavadi sannyasis present was named Prakasananda Saraswati. And after standing up, he addressed Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with great respect. He said, "Please come here, Your Holiness. Why do you sit in that unclean place? What has caused your lamentation?" Lord Chaitanya replied, "Our order of sannyasis, therefore not service to you." He's taking the humble position. Prakasananda Saraswati, however, caught Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally by the hand, seated him with great respect in the midst of the assembly. So here's this young sannyasi surrounded by all these eminent personalities, and they're going to ask him some questions. Prakasananda Saraswati then said, "I understand that your name is Sri Krishna Chaitanya. You are a disciple of Sri Keshava Bharati, and therefore you are glorious. You belong to our Shankara Sampradaya and live in our village, Varanasi. Why then do you not associate with us? Why is it that you avoid even seeing us?" Lord Chaitanya was the person of the people. He was out chanting and glorifying the Lord in congregational, it's called Sankirtan. And he wasn't interested in sitting and reading books and staying cloistered, but he wanted to go out into the public and give everyone a chance to have an experience of the Supreme Lord through Kirtan, the holy names. And what does Lord Chaitanya say? This is still Prakasananda Saraswati. "You are a sannyasi, then why do you indulge in chanting and dancing and engaging in your Sankirtan movement in the company of fanatics? There's everybody in the street just dancing. Who knows who they are? They may be of this caste or that caste, this level. But Krishna is God for everyone, whatever caste or creed or what. Everyone is related to Krishna." Meditation and study of Vedanta are the sole duties of a sannyasi. Why do you abandon these activities and to dance with fanatics? You look as brilliant as if you were Narayan himself. Will you kindly explain the reason that you have adopted behavior of lower class people? They're wondering why. The path that we're following is gone, it elevates us, but it doesn't give, as Lord Chaitanya will say, it does not bring love for God. In Puri, Jagannath is the Lord. And of course, Jagannath means Lord of the universe. And the Lord of the universe is the Lord of everyone. Not just the intelligent, not just the Brahmins, not just the Hindus, not just this group or that group. He's the Lord of everyone. And Lord Chaitanya is teaching everyone how they can become connected in love to that Lord Jagannath. So here's Lord Chaitanya speaking. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied to Prakasananda Saraswati, "My dear sir, kindly hear the reason. My spiritual master considered me a fool, and therefore he chastised me." What do you know? Of course, it's the duty of the spiritual master to chastise. Because unless we have some discipline, who knows what will happen to us? We have to have that guiding hand of the Guru. Kind guidance. He gives us a hand, and then maybe he twists our arm sometimes. But he's giving us some guidance. He's giving us some direction. And so Lord Chaitanya said, "My Guru," he said, I'm not qualified. He said, my Guru said, Lord Chaitanya said, "You are a fool. You are not qualified to study Vedanta philosophy, and therefore you must always chant the holy name of Krishna. This is the essence of all mantras or Vedic hymns." So we should take this. Of course, Lord Chaitanya is not a fool. But in this Kali Yuga, we are all less qualified, so to speak. And therefore, for us, with our daily lives, running here and there, kids' jobs, and all sorts of duties, we're not going to be able to sit down and study Vedanta for a long time. And even when we did, will we understand what we read? But we can all chant the Lord's holy names, because the Lord's holy names, Krishna is his holy name. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, one can obtain freedom from material existence. Indeed, simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one will be able to see the lotus feet of the Lord. In this age of Kali, there is no religious principle other than chanting the holy name, which is the essence of all Vedic hymns. This is the purport of all scriptures. And we should understand that there have been other ages, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwarpa Yuga. In these ages, there were persons were more qualified. In Satya Yuga, there was all goodness, and through meditation, one could become perfect. And in Treta Yuga, there was some vice that had been introduced up to 25%. And in that age, it was huge sacrifices made to the Lord. And in Dwarpa Yuga, it's 50-50. We see that in the Mahabharata. Pandavas and Duryodhana and company, 50-50. Half the family is not very pious and half the family is saintly. And then that age, it's temple worship of the Archa-Vigraha, the deities. In Kali Yuga, it's 75-25, and it's going towards 0. Yes, our qualities are very diminished. And whereas in Dwarpa Yuga, half the family was good and half the family was bad, in Kali Yuga, half of me is good and half of me is bad. Demon and devotee are in the same place. So in this age, the special dispensation is that Krishna, as his holy name, who is non-different from himself, he appears, and as that holy name, he gives us the opportunity to associate with him directly. A great saint, Narottam Das Thakur, said, Golokara Premadan Harinama Sankirtan, that the name of the Lord descends directly from the spiritual world. So when we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, we are directly associating with the Lord through the sound vibration of his name. After describing the potency of the Hare Krishna mantra, my spiritual master taught me another verse advising to always keep it within my throat. And this is a famous verse, and it's from the Padma Purana, no, Adi Purana, no, Padma Purana. Padma Purana. And this verse is, Harinama, Harinama, Harinama Eva Kevalam, Hello, Nasteva, 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 Gachuranyata. For spiritual progress in this age of Kali, there is no alternative, there is no alternative, there is no alternative to the holy name, the holy name, the holy name of the Lord. And it's stated, Kalardosha Nida Rajan Ask Eko Mahanguna Kirtanad Eva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Vrajet. That the Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults. All sorts of faults. You know, it's described that Dharma the bull in the Srimad Bhagavatam, he represents the 4 pillars of religion. And that's mercy, cleanliness, austerity, and truth. So, mercy, cleanliness, and austerity are gone in Kali Yuga. And the bull stands only on one leg, and that's truth. But now, that truth is being assaulted. Who knows what truth is? People don't care what it is. So, this age of Kali is an age of faults, but there is still one good quality about this age. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. Everyone is eligible. the essence of all Vedic knowledge, comprehending all the kinds of Vedic activities, the chandas or Vedic hymns, and the processes for satisfying the demigods, including the 8 syllables Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. This is the reality of Vedanta. The chanting of the holy name is the only means to cross the ocean of nescience. And in the Kali Santarana Upanishad it states, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. These 16 names composed of 32 syllables are the only means to counteract the evil effects of Kali Yuga. In all the Vedas, it is seen that to cross the ocean of nescience, there is no alternative to the chanting of the holy name. And this is the what Guru gives. And ultimately, it's what all the gurus who have been touched by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu give. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave this highest and most relishable form of connecting with the Supreme Lord, this chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. And everybody can do this. And I'm going to chant briefly and in conclusion. And I thank you all for inviting us here so we can speak about oh yes. And of course, Krishna himself speaks in the Bhagavad Gita that Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhya Jiman Manaskaru engage your mind, engage your body, engage your energies, engage everything in me, and certainly you'll come to me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, some are the other devotees from ISKCON, Manoj Prabhu and his family, have brought copies of Bhagavad Gita by as it is, which is Srila Prabhupada's commentary on Bhagavad Gita. So if anyone would like a Bhagavad Gita, it's in Oriya too. Oh, it's in Oriya? Oh,
wow.
Okay, it's in Oriya. Okay. So it definitely something that you probably don't have and that you wish you did. So, talk to Advaita.
Manoj Prabhu, Manoj Shakti.
They can tell you all about it, and they can speak about it to you better than I should. Thank you very much for your kind invitation, and we hope that whatever is spoken today has made some sense, and forgive me for any errors I may have committed or any misstatements, but I'm very glad that we could get together again. It's always good to come here. It's like a 4th of July regular happening. What 4th of July without coming to Saraswata Mat would not be complete.
Okay. You got it.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Next we'll have Vrindavan Bhai, assisted by Janu Bhai, to sing a song, Madhur Madhur Bangshi Baje.
मधुर मधुर बंसी बाजे ऐसे वृंदावन मधुर मधुर बंसी बाजे ऐसे वृंदावन मधुर मधुर बंसी बाजे ऐसे वृंदावन मधुर मधुर बंसी बाजे মধুর বংশী বাজে এই সেই সদাগর এই তো সেই বরজ বিধু এই তো সেই বরজ বিধু এই সেই ভরসা এই তো সেই বরজ বিধু এই সেই ভরসা মধুর বংশী বাজে এই সেই Thank you.
we have reached the end of the session almost. Last item is to offer vote of thanks to our guests. We should do that.
जय गुरु। परम पूज्य गुरुदेव और पेरेंट ऑर्गेनाइज नीलाचल साधु संघ परिचालक शरद भाई और चीफ गेस्ट दिष्टा प्रभु जी एंड रुद्राणी माता जी और गेस्ट कैलाश बाबू सुब्रह्मा आई थिंक हैव लेट धीरेन्द्र भाई और मनोज भाई so my dear brothers and sisters Guru Bhai Guru Ma our young students, it was great privilege to have our Sister Prabhuji and Rudrani Mataji. Anytime we contacted, immediately I'll get a response. We are there to come to your Sangha. He's always waiting for this opportunity. I think last month, sometime early last month, I contacted, so I got the response immediately from him, and he called me back, so saying that he would like to have this some sabha to participate. Okay. So thank you for coming here, and also your discussion on Chaitanya Charitamrita, the one you read today, and also you have. Because of Guru Purnima, you read the Guru Kripa, the bhajan, Bengali bhajan. Gurudev Kripa Diya, whatever, right? That was a very nice bhajan from your side. And also, thank you for Manoj Bhai coming here with your family, Prabhuji and Advaita Prabhu. You also had a nice kirtan with us. It was very interesting to see you, such a young age. 13, age is 13 right now, but he's studying in Gurukula. He's not going to normal school, he's going to Gurukula in ISKCON. That's how he's doing his studies at this time. Very nice to see both you and your family and daughter too. And Dhirendra Bhai, also on Guru Purnima Day, you reminded how we remember our parents as past Guru. Then also, importance of Guru in your life, that also you share your thoughts. Thank you for sharing those few words. Kailash Babu Tanhanti, he said that Sri Thakur both Thakur Janchanti. He knew our Thakurji for such a long time, and he also reminded that work is worship and stay connected with to become a good human being, stay connected with the society and do good job. That's how he also shared his thoughts. So, on behalf of our Sangha, Guru Bhai, Guru Ma, and from our young aspirants, we again thank you, Prabhuji, coming here, Rudrani Mataji coming here, and also Nama Kirtan, the Hare Krishna Nama Hare Kirtan you sang here. It was very sweet and listening to you. We also enjoyed listening from you. Thank you again, Dhirendra Bhai, and everyone who participated on Sadharan Sabha today. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru.
Jai Guru, dear Thakur, our invited guests, Bhais and Maas, and your aspirants. So we'll be ending the session here now. Thakur Maharaj, you will be escorted to your bedroom now, and will be offered some bhoga. Then we'll start our. I invite all the bhaktas to devotees to have some snacks downstairs. Then we start our Pratiksha for the final session of the ceremony at 5:45 p.m. Okay, because this one the program says 5:30, so we start 15 minutes later. So 5:45 p.m. Pratiksha and 6:15 some evening Arati. Alright? Jai Guru.
Because once you put
Just give me 1 minute.
Gracias.
I've seen you in but somebody not joined you.